Here is my 3-person audience. So how does a free 4-year education with guaranteed job after you graduate that's got paid vacation, 401, great insurance, probably some of the best in the country, and just great all-around benefits sounds pretty great, right? Well, there's only a handful of places in this country that you can do that, and the United States Air Force Academy is one of them. It's a 4-year education, bachelor's in science, and after you graduate, you are an officer in the great United States Air Force. So, being part of the academy, the core values that you have to live up to are integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. If you can do that and get through the rigors, then you got yourself a free education and a free job. So today, talk a little bit about the history, what it takes to get accepted, the honor code, and a little bit about the life of a cadet, which I have plenty of experience in, as I was a cadet from 2011 to 2013. So, the Air Force has only been a separate branch since 1947 when Congress passed the National Security Act. Once they passed that, they decided that we needed a separate Air Force Academy, different from West Point, which is for Army, and Annapolis, which is for the Navy and Marine Corps. In 1954, legislation was finally passed to authorize the building of the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And the first class graduated in 1959. One of the big milestone moments for the Academy is in 1980 when the first class of women graduated. Fun little tidbit is that the class of 1979 was the last class of all men, and they call themselves still to this day the last class with balls. So, well, that's a little bit of history, but getting in is the big hardship. It's considered one of the hardest colleges in America to get accepted into, with the class of 2017 having only a 12.5% acceptance rate. Average about 12,000 people apply, with around 1,000 being accepted every year. It changes just depending on needs of the Air Force. That's according to the airforce.gov. To get in, you have to be in peak physical shape. There's physical tests that you have to take. You have to have great academic scores. The average cadet scored at least a 30 on their ACT per USAFA.mil. And then the hardest part is getting a nomination from either your congressman or senator. You have to go in, write a letter stating why you want to be in the academy, and then they give you an interview. You have to meet with a board, with the senator. It's a very big deal to get that, as only about 1,200 people a year are able to get those nominations. So once you are nominated and you do get accepted, one of the first things you learn about when you get there is the honor code. The honor code states that we will not lie, steal, or cheat, nor tolerate among us anyone who does. So once you've taken this oath at the end of basic training, if you are caught or you come forward lying, stealing, or cheating, then the presumptive punishment is disenrollment. The first 2 years probably won't be, depending on the severity of the discrepancy. You'll get put on honor probation, but it is one of the biggest violations you can commit while at the academy. So that's the biggest part of the life of a cadet. But some other things that we live through, first there's BCT, Basic Cadet Training, which is just basic training. It's the summer before your freshman year. At the academy, we call it a little bit different. It's 4th class, 3rd, 2nd, and then 1st class instead of freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Freshmen are called doulies, which is actually derived from the Greek word doulos, which means slave or servant. So freshmen have basically no privileges. They can't wear civilian clothing, they can't have any media access, uniforms all the time. It's pretty crazy all the things you have to go through to be as a freshman. Lots of military training, one of the hardest academic schedules in America. Anyone who graduates from the academy graduates with a Bachelor of Science, even if you majored in humanities, because the core classes consist of so many engineering and physics and calculus. It's a very demanding academic workload. On top of that, you've got your military training. So you've got your basic training that first summer, and then the second summer you do an airmanship, which is either parachuting, gliders, drones, and then you can be cadre. You can run the basic training. Lots of leadership opportunities. So overall, it's one of the hardest places to graduate from. I didn't succeed. I made it to the second semester of my junior year before the academics took a toll and the lifestyle as a whole. My class of 2015, had the highest attrition rate in academy history, where out of the 1,125 of us that started, only 700 graduated. So it is one of the hardest places in America to graduate. So that's a little bit about the Air Force Academy. We went over the history, what it takes to get accepted, the honor code, and a little bit about the life of a cadet as told by a former cadet. So not a lot of people know about the Air Force Academy. People think service academies, they think West Point and Navy. So there's a little bit of education for y'all today.